Violent video games. Do they cause damage to children? Do they make them more violent? Aggressive? Let's take a little tour to find out. First off, let's see what your kids are really doing while they're playing their video games. Here's a montage of violent video games. View at your pleasure. Enjoy! For every 10 minutes of playing video games or computer games, boys between the age of 8 and 18 will see between 2 and 124 acts of violence. This graph here shows the popularity among video games. See that Grand Theft Auto is on the top, followed by Madden and Halo. Two of those top three games are violent video games. A scientific study suggests that the less children play video games or watch television, the less aggressive they become. More than 70% of American teenage boys have played the violent adult-rated Grand Theft Auto video game, and those teens are more likely to have been in a fight than those who have not played. This is merely a graph to show the varied amounts of played video games. Playing violent video games can increase aggressive thoughts, feelings, and behavior, says researchers in BBC News article. Video games increase aggression. They warn that violent video games may be more harmful than violent television or films because they are interactive and require the player to identify with the aggressive character. For the first time ever, the National Institute on Media and the Family gave the video game industry a failing grade in its annual Media-Wise video game report card. The best-selling games of the past year glorify and reward extreme violence, especially towards women. These reports say that while these games are rated M, they are extremely popular with teens and preteen boys who report no trouble buying them.
Further on our research on the effects of video game violence on children and teens, I had the opportunity to sit down with real-life young adults around the streets to see their experiences with video games in their life. So, do you play video games?
Yes, I play video games all the time.
And what type of games do you like to play?
I like playing Gears of War 3, 1 and 2, Mortal Kombat, Grand Theft Auto, and my favorite one is WWE 13.
So all these games, in a way, have some sort of violence within them.
Yes, a lot of violence. I like it.
No games without any violence?
No, those are for the nerds.
So the violence you see in these games, how do you apply that into your real life? Do you?
Yes, I do.
Well, how so?
Well, I like to wall bounce. That's when that's in Gears of War when you bounce from wall to wall, dodging bullets, and it's crazy good.
Well, what about the other games, like in Grand Theft Auto?
Grand Theft Auto. Well, it makes me want to grab my mom's car and drive reckless sometimes. And WWE, I don't know. Just want to beat people up sometimes.
So have these video games affected a relationship between your friends or your parents?
Yes, my friends do not go over sometimes because all I want to do is play video games. My mom doesn't let me watch violent TV shows anymore, but somehow I still get a hold of them.
Would you ever consider stopping playing these games?
Oh no, playing video games is my life. It's my life. It's my life.
You can tell the impact video games have had on Fernando, pushing him to do certain behaviors that were influenced by the violent video games he's played. We then sat down with former video gamer Nikki. Do you play video games?
You know, I used to.
Used to? What do you mean by used to?
Luckily I had family members who realized how much it took control of me, and they sent me to rehab. One of the greatest things that my family has ever done to me.
Well, what games did you used to play?
I used to play a lot of Grand Theft Auto. It used to be my leading game.
Any others?
No, mostly Grand Theft Auto. It was like my outlet, my escape to reality.
Well, how was your rehab experience?
At first it sucked. There's nothing I wanted more than to grab a controller and just start playing. It's habit with your hands. You become shaky at first. You need it. Your brain really wants it as much as drugs, really.
And the violence within the game, how did that affect your relationship with your friends, your family, and just the control of yourself as well?
You know, a lot of people think that because you kill people in video games that it makes you want to kill somebody. I never wanted to kill anybody, but I can see myself getting angry, anxious, and just out of control sometimes, especially when it comes to tantrums, bipolar moments. I really felt like this was onset because of video games.
And how long did it take you to finally be cured?
You're never cured. You're never cured. You're never cured.
Despite the rehab and change of lifestyle, Nikki may never be the same after the gruesome and aggressive behavior influenced by the video games that continue to haunt him. We finally attempted to interview a local bystander, but that didn't go too well. Hey, sir.
What? What do you want?
Can I talk to you?
Sure,
So do you play video games?
Yeah, sometimes.
Well, what type of games do you play?
Most of them, like Grand Theft Auto, Call of Duty, yeah, whatever.
So the violent types, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, do you consider yourself a violent person because you play these games?
No,
I don't. Why are you pushing me?
because I want to.
Dude, it's just an interview. I just need your reaction.
Well, stop recording me. Get that camera out of my face.
To gain an expert's opinion, we sat down with world-renowned psychologist Dr. Phil for his intake on the issue. So how do you feel does this violent video games affect the future of our children?
Well, there's going to be a lot more angry people on the streets. Like, they're going to be a lot more violent and behavior problems. It's not going to be good.
Dr. Phil, in your mind, do you think there is a link between violent video games and violence between kids, teens, and young adults?
Yes.
Can you please elaborate on that?
Basically, it makes them more aggressive. Like, they don't really go out and kill people, but if they play a lot of violent video games, then they're probably going to be doing a lot of, like, really out.
And if you were to think in your mind, just think of violent video games towards kids and its impact. What's one word you would describe it?
Terrible. Just terrible. Just terrible. Just terrible. Just terrible.
My name is Adam Soto, and I'm reporting the news. In the U.S., there have been actual cases of violence that have been linked to video games. According to Adam Edelman, the Detectives Investigating Union Massacre article, the Connecticut shooting involving Adam Lanza, who had gunned down and killed 20 children and 6 teachers, and soon turned his rifle onto himself. The police authorities had searched his home and found dozens, if not hundreds, of violent video games. Detectives investigated and found a discovery that Adam Lanza may have been mimicking a gory scene in one of his violent video games that he loved so much. Also stated by Rob Newberry in a 14-year-old kid article, an Iowa 14-year-old boy, Noah Crooks, is on a trial for the murder of his own mother, Gretchen Crooks. The cause of this crime was because his own mother had taken away his own Call of Duty game, of which pushed him to kill her with a .222 caliber rifle that belonged to Noah. After he had done the deed of killing he had then almost proceeded in raping his own now deceased mother. The trial is still going on today, in which Noah's attorney is not denying the charges that have been placed on him, but as a defense, the boy was under what the attorney calls a tremor of rage, which drove him to do the crime and was unable to control himself during the time.
The Washington Post also ran a story about Grand Theft Auto as well as other mature-rated video games played by teens, called for young fans. The name of the video game is Gore. Violence gets marketed like apple pie. Lion and Lamb told the Post. It is sold to boys as cool, and if you come out and speak against it, then you are so uncool. I hope you come and take away something good from this documentary. That violent video games, they're an epidemic. They're going to cause the loss of so many lives. So many people are going to get angrier. Are we going to allow our kids and ourselves to play these games? Well, of course we are, because they're fun. We'll keep saying that until the next disaster happens. Now, here are the credits.